Okay, and we are live again. Welcome, everyone. Just going to wait a second to see who jumps on. Have a little conversation here. And today's topic is going to be, it's all about cooperation. So, it's always about cooperation. See, we are led to believe, and we are taught that in life it's all about competition. Hi, Rick. How are you? Sounds interesting. I'm glad you're on board. Finally made it. Okay. So, for those of you that are wondering if you can't communicate with me, that's because subscribers can communicate with me, obviously. We've just switched it like that because we're getting a lot of comments. So if you want to subscribe, please go right ahead. There's perks to it. So anyway, thanks for being here, Rick. Like I said, today's world has taught us that we need to compete with one another, that everything is about competition. Otherwise, it's not healthy, right? And you can see that very, very well even in our everyday lives. We are used to competition. But I'm here to tell you that on a universal scale, that does not apply. You see, everything is about cooperation. And if you look around, everywhere around you, if you really tap into the source of things, you're going to realize that everything is cooperating with one another. I'll give you an example. Your body. Okay? Your body has billions and billions of cells. All these cells are individual. All these cells have a mind of their own, believe it or not. All these cells have a function to perform. But having said that, they have to come together in cooperation in order for you as a body, as a physical being, to be alive and to be standing. Okay? Another example I'll give you. Your vehicle, for example. Your vehicle has so many different parts to it. Can you imagine if every part was doing a different thing without the cooperation of another? So, if all those parts didn't cooperate with one another, then you wouldn't be able to drive your vehicle. Okay? Thank you very much for the rose. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, Vikram. I want to thank everybody that's here and taking their precious time from their evening to or in morning, or I don't know what parts of the world you're in, to join and to be here. I appreciate you all. So, like I said before, when you tap into the universal scale of things, you will realize that everything is about cooperation. And that is a big lesson to all of us. Believe it or not, everything in the universe, whether it's planets, stars, comets, meteors, whatever you want to call them, they are all cooperating with one another. Even in nature, you see animals, for example, and sometimes we think, hey, look at all these animals, one animal's eating the other and this and that. In the grand scheme of things, it's not about competition. They are all cooperating with one another. This is how the balance of life happens. This is how all the balance of the whole universe happens. Okay? You have something and then something else that keeps things in balance, right? So in our mind, we think, well, look at the lion, for example. The lion is eating the zebra, and so on and so on. In the meantime, if you noticed, even when these animals at their last breaths, yes, they try to survive and all that, but at the end, like, they just pretty much give up. It's all about cooperation. And so, as humans in this physical body, this is the only thing that I can tell you. The thing that I can tell you is, instead of looking at your peers, instead of looking at people that you hang around with on a daily basis and see them as competition, why not cooperate with them? Okay? In so many different ways. There's so many ways that you can find to cooperate with other human beings. I mean, look at the great things that we have accomplished, whether it's magnificent cities, magnificent architecture, whether it is corporations, for example. You name the biggest corporations. Can you imagine if you had some big corporation and everybody in there was not cooperating with one another? Corporation would go bankrupt, right? So that's the way it is in a universal scale as well. Okay? So my message to you is plain and simple, that if you are out there and talking to people and you see them as a threat, for example, or you see that you need to compete with them, for example, that is not the case. Okay, you should look at them and cooperate with them. I will give you a prime example. Years ago, I was living in Toronto, and we had this main strip of businesses in the Greek area, for example. And what they were actually, they were restaurants, right? And one restaurant would open up right beside the other restaurant. Thank you very much again for your roses. Thank you. Odua, if I pronounce your name correct, thank you. So you would see all these restaurants one beside another. And when you were first opening up, we would say, a lot of us, even myself at that time, I would think, well, this can't be healthy for everybody. In what way do I mean that? Can't be healthy because how are all these businesses going to survive? Where are all these people going to come and support all these businesses from, right? So we thought that all these businesses were actually in competition. And maybe in their mind at that time they were. Maybe they were competing, with their menu prices or with this or with that or their service or what kind of entertainment they're going to bring. In reality, what they didn't realize is that they actually started cooperating with one another, okay? And as a result, they shut down the streets and they brought all these, like, millions of people would just walk through over, like, I don't know, like in a 3-4 day event that they would be doing, right? And these businesses would be thriving. Why? Because they were not competing, they were cooperating, okay? So that is how you should look at life. At least this is how I look at life. And this is how we go to the stars. This is how we go to the moon. This is how we just go everywhere. I'm talking about the physical realm right now, right? It's through competition. It's through cooperation, not competition. It is through awareness that we can be much, much better when we are together, okay, and united. And all this that I'm saying right now has to do as well with awakening, okay? Because there's a lot of people that are observing their minds. There's a lot of people that are not realizing that they're not their thoughts, right? And when they just get stuck in their thoughts, they get into this competition mode. They get into this mode of not realizing what's really, really happening in life, okay, and around them. And when you just manage to forget about your thoughts, when you just manage to connect with who you are, okay, then magical things really, really happen. It's just amazing. Susan is on board. Hello, Susan. By the way, maybe Rick, Susan, do you have any questions that you want to throw at me? Please, by all means, go ahead and throw those questions at me. I see the two of you are here, and that is fantastic. I was saying earlier, because Susan just jumped on board too, that this whole world is about cooperation and not about competition, okay? And even though we were brought up as children to think that this is about competition, it really isn't. It's just about cooperation. Okay, I just joined, still didn't see your schedule. Didn't know you were going live now. Yes, that's because I didn't make a schedule. Thanks for saying that, Susan. I just posted it like an hour before this. I had a day that was very interesting for me, very exciting. So I didn't post my schedule until an hour ago. Can you just check it, Susan? Because I'm not sure if I can check it on my side. Maybe on your side you can check to see if the note is there. If it's not, just DM me or something. You know what I mean? And I can see what the issue might be there, if there is an issue. I did update the note like an hour ago, though. So if you don't mind, if you have time, because I can't see it from my end, but you probably can from yours. So yes, it's all about cooperation. It's not about competition. Like I said before, you have billions of cells in your body, and they all work together as one in order for thank you, Susan. Okay, sure. Not sure where to check. That's okay. I think maybe there should be like a subscriber's note. Maybe there. Because on my end, that's what it says, subscriber's note. So I just make a note. I'm not sure how it would show on your end. But I can check it out myself as well and see if there's something else that I need to do from my end. So like I was saying before, a lot of billions of cells in your body, they all have a job to do. They all have to work in a team effort to keep you alive as a physical being, I'm saying, right? The same thing when you have, let's say, a vehicle, all those parts have to come in together in order for you to be able to drive your vehicle, and so many more examples can be given. So in this way, now I'm going to go one step further, and I'm going to say who you really are. That, that magnificent being of love and light that I'm talking about all the time. Well, that being has spread out, believe it or not, in multiple universes, multiple timelines, multiple places. And it's doing that so it can experience everything as in one shot type of a thing, right? So all those experiences have to tie in together, okay, in a form of cooperation, right, in order for your inner being, higher being, to get the full picture of what is happening, okay? So you, for example, as an individual soul, if you can call that, right, you have to be in cooperation with the bigger part of you. So everything comes together in a form of cooperation. So anything else you wanted to add? Maybe Susan? Rick usually has a lot of questions, and he's been silent today in terms of questions, I'm saying. So if you have anything to add, please go right ahead and add it, Rick. Another interesting thing, I wanted, actually, since you're here, Susan, I want to thank you in person as well. Thank you for the video that you did. Thank you for the recommendation that you did. It really, really touched me, Susan. I was truly, truly humbled by your video that you did. So yes, it was absolutely amazing. Also trying to learn how to share this with our friends. Okay, are you talking about the live? I think if you're talking about the live, it's just share. That's what my understanding is. It's all about share. If you're talking about the video, I've already tagged you. and we'll see what happens with that. Oh my God, I am blushing. As I said, I fell in love with you the minute I saw you. Oh, don't blush. You're making me blush as well. Honestly, it's a humbling and beautiful experience to have you on board. It is so beautiful to have all you wonderful people on board. I'm going to take this opportunity to say, these people that are communicating with me on my live are people that have subscribed, and that's why we can communicate. And the reason for this is because I just get a lot of comments when I go live, and I can't talk to everybody, right? It would be like a 24-hour thing if I sat here and just started communicating with everybody. So that's why, like, it's like a subscription note, and I'm going to try to update the my calendar, if you may, at what times I can be doing the lives and all that. So thank you for sharing, Susan. Thank you very, very much, Susan. So, okay. So, like I was saying before about this cooperation thing today that I wanted to do, is I wanted just to share that message out to as many people as possible, that when they see others, when they see their peers, when they see other beautiful people around, don't think like you need to compete against them, okay? Instead, try to cooperate. Thank you again, my friend Odawa. Try to cooperate and not to compete, okay? Sometimes I know it could be difficult, especially if you're working in some kind of a corporation, and there's certain incentives to reach, or whatever the case might be. But you will do much, much better in life if you just understood the universal language, which is of cooperation. And this, like I said, happens everywhere around us, whether it's stars, the moon, the planets, meteors, comets. They all have a specific role to play, and they all have their reasons that they're there, right? Without them, for example, there wouldn't even be life on this planet. Okay, so everything has its reason, and everything has its way of unfolding, and sometimes we just don't see what's happening in front of us, but there's always a bigger and better reason. So on that note, I don't want to keep you very, very long. That was my message for today. Please cooperate and do not compete, okay? Thank you for everybody that's been here and been watching me. I took some precious time from you, so that's all good. I hope you enjoyed this live. We'll be doing some more lives. Susan, thank you for being here. Rick, thank you for being here as well. Okay, Rick asked the question, actually, how much to... Just give me 1 sec here, Rick. I have a sip of my... How much to say? Just absorbing. Have so much learn where I'm at in my life. Okay. Not much to say today. That's fine, Rick. You're just absorbing today, and that is fine. You know what I mean? You can absorb. You don't have to say much. You don't have to say anything at all, actually, okay? Have so much to learn where I'm at my life. That's a wonderful comment, Rick. And I can tell you something that we all learn from one another, okay? I learn every day as well. We learn from everything, believe it or not. We learn from plants. We learn from insects. We learn from animals. We learn from other people. We learn from the elements. Okay, we learn from the planet. We learn from peace, from silence. We learn from noise, believe it or not. We learn every day. We are exposed to something. We have something that we are learning. And at times, maybe it doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like we're learning anything. but deep down on a subconscious level, we are picking up everything around us, believe it or not. We are recording everything in your subconscious level, in your human mind, I'm saying now, right? Everything is being recorded, okay? So it's truly mind-blowing. We constantly learn. So thank you for that comment, Rick. Really, really appreciate it. And as I was saying, if you folks want to subscribe, please go right ahead and subscribe. Why? Because you will be able to ask me questions on my lives like this, and you will also know my schedules for my lives. Hopefully, Susan can check that out for me so I can see if I can update it, because I can't see it on my end. Thank you. Thank you very much as well, Susan, for being here and watching. All right, Rick asked a question. All right. For instances, how to connect to my higher self. Any suggestions? Rick, I'm glad you asked that question, because yes, I do have a suggestion for you. The best way to connect with your higher self, okay? Now, keep in mind, your higher self never leaves us, never leaves you. Your higher self is always there, okay? Your higher self always communicates with you. Your higher self always directs you, okay? The issue, if you might call it an issue, is that we just simply don't pay attention, okay? Because there's a lot of noise going on around us. We have busy lives. We have, constant thoughts coming in our mind. And that is the only reason why we don't pay attention, okay? So the best way to connect with your higher self, Rick, would be just to go silent, go quiet. And the way you do it is you go to a nice, quiet place to begin with, okay? And then when you are in this quiet place, you just simply stop moving. And when I say stop moving, I mean literally stop moving. Don't even move your head, okay? You can move your eyes around. Why? Because your eyes, when they are open, you have a bigger sense of awareness, okay? And then as you are looking at things around you and being silent and still, automatically you raise your awareness, okay? And when you raise your awareness, your mind, your thoughts stop, they start subsiding, okay? And then at some point, you might even get goosebumps, you might get the chills, you might get something that feels out of the ordinary for you, okay? That is the part where you've just connected with your higher self. If you get those goosebumps, if you get anything out of the ordinary for you, I strongly suggest that you pay attention to it. And I strongly suggest that you just pay attention to how you got there. Now, during the day, you can also do it as well, okay? During the day, I mean, in your everyday business, when you conduct your everyday business. When you are walking around, for example, this is what I want you to do. You walk around, and all of a sudden, you just stop completely, okay? Doesn't matter who's around you. If there's nobody around you, that's even better, but if there's people around you, doesn't matter either, okay? Just stop, stay silent, observe what's going on around you, and you do the same thing. Just keep your eyes open and observe. Again, you're going to feel something rising inside you. You're going to feel something that you've probably haven't felt in a very long time, because maybe you felt it when you were a kid, when you were a child, and you just simply forgot how it feels right now. So if you just stop at that moment, you will connect again with your higher self. Another suggestion for you, Rick, I'm full of suggestions today, is to listen. Even, let's say, even now when I'm talking, my voice is not a constant flow. There's gaps in it, okay? Pay attention to those gaps. Hi, Carolina. Thank you very, very much for that. pay attention to those gaps, not just when I'm speaking in general, I'm saying, right? Because in those gaps, you are connecting with space. Space is silent, okay? This is where your true self dwells, okay? It dwells in space and in silence. So if you can start paying attention to gaps, okay, or even, let's say you're in a room, pay attention to the emptiness in that room, for example, okay? What is that going to do? It is going to bring you in contact, in your awareness with space, okay? Because your true being is limitless, all right? It is just pure, limitless space that just keeps expanding and expanding and expanding. And by you paying attention to space, by you paying attention to the gaps, to silence, to the quietness that's happening around you, which you can pick up even if a bird is singing, for example, you can still pick up that silence when it stops, right? Just like that bowl. I don't know if you saw that video that I did with a Tibetan singing bowl. That Tibetan singing bowl was a tool exactly for that. So you, instead of playing with it like you would normally do, you just strike it on the side. You follow the sound until it just dies out. And right where it dies out, you pay attention to the silence. All right. What was your first interest when you started your practice? Says Rick. I see the questions are coming now. Thank you, Rick. So my first interest when I started my practice was actually to connect with myself. That was my interest. I just simply wanted answers. I wanted answers. Why am I here? Why am I on this planet? And I always knew from a young kid, believe it or not, as a child, that there was so much more to this. You know, I remember even playing when I was a kid. I would play with other kids around and I would tell them, hey, wait, you know, I'm going into my body now. Like I would think like I was a robot. You know, like the cartoons, you have a robot and then somebody just goes inside that robot and has all these mechanical, you know, levers or whatever, like to move it around. That's what I thought I was doing. I thought that I can go inside my body and just start making it move. So as a child, as a kid, what prompted this? It wasn't a cartoon that I had seen. It wasn't anything. What prompted this thought that I have that I can just enter my body and make it move? And then, you know, a couple of years later when I started watching cartoons, I saw the same thing, people just going into these robots and playing around with them. So that's how I started it, Rick. Thank you for asking. Carolina, thank you very, very, very much for those roses. Rick says again, I do get those goosebumps when I reach out to my archangels, especially Angel Michael. Absolutely. So, Rick, it's funny that you mentioned those angels actually, because I have two boys and they're twins. They're now 18 and their names are actually Michael and Gabriel, believe it or not. Because as just before they were born, believe it or not, I had a vision of Archangel Gabriel. And it wasn't a dream, it was an actual vision. So, but having said this, okay, whatever connection you want to connect with, whoever you want to connect, when it feels good to you, just connect. So be it. Yes, that was a great idea. I hope so. I hope so, Rick. All right. So I guess no more questions here for tonight. That's all good. Did you ever do any shadow work? That's amazing. I can't say that I have. No, Rick. I'm not even sure how you do shadow work. I have heard some people doing it. That's correct. That's their way of connecting with what they want to connect with. But personally, for myself, the only shadow work, if you can call it shadow work, I don't know if that qualifies as shadow work, I'll tell you, and I haven't really told anybody. Let's say you have an object, okay? And this object is casting a shadow. I don't know if you can see my hand here. Let's say this object is casting a shadow, right? And let's say I wanted to move the object, because I've experimented and I've played around with a lot of things here, Rick. And this is something that I haven't shared actually. So let's say I wanted to move this object, but it's casting a shadow. I would move my hand. Okay, this light is not that good for that. But anyway, I would cast another shadow, let's say with my hand, and instead of touching the object, I would touch right here. See this? Shadow with shadow. So I would touch with this shadow, that shadow, and I would make this move. So it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of practice to do this. It takes a lot of patience, because it's not a very easy thing to do. But that's the only shadow work that I have done. So this is awesome. Any other questions? Thank you all for joining. If you would like to subscribe, please go right ahead. This is your opportunity, because you can only subscribe while I am live. When the live finishes, the live broadcast finishes, you can't actually go to my page and subscribe. There's no such option. So if you want to subscribe, this is your opportunity while I'm live. Haiti joined. All right. Any other questions here? I don't see any other questions. If Susan is still here, Susan, if you can just see if you can see the note that I put on the subscriber note. I'm not sure where you can see it, but if you can see that note, then that's fine. If not, I'm going to see on my end what I can do. And on that note, no matter what you do, be the greatest you. Love and light to all. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for watching. Okay, Susan is here, still here. I checked your profile but didn't see a note. Okay. I'm going to have to check into that then, Susan. Also not the most techy person. That's awesome. I'm gonna have to make some inquiries myself, maybe with TikTok, and see maybe there's something that I missed, because I believe no, you did not disappoint me, Susan, at all. You didn't disappoint me at all. Thank you for actually checking. I know it's work. I know you got better things to do. So maybe ask the smart young people. Maybe. Or maybe I can just contact TikTok straight, and maybe they can give me an answer. Like I said, maybe it's something on my end that I didn't complete. So I'm going to check it out and I'll keep you posted. Thank you for checking, Susan. Okay, and Rick, thank you for all your questions. Always a pleasure. Always to love having you guys aboard here. Love you too, Susan. Thank you very, very much. And on that note, no matter what you do, be the greatest you. Love and light to all. I love you all very, very much. And thank you for connecting with me tonight. Take care. Bye-bye.